All right. Uh, Good evening, Dr. Ikas. Thank you for listening to my presentation. And this will be my research presentation over the quantitative intensity of depression survey research done by Dante Holting for the class of Principles of Behavioral Research and Science on 3435. And okay, let's get started. Okay, so first, we're going to go to the introduction and the research hypothesis. Before we get into research, we have to have a hypothesis. And my research hypothesis for this research was, is there a greater quantitative intensity of depression in individuals who are ethnic minorities? And as you can see, I cited my data through the Anxiety and Depression Association of America, and you will find my research hypothesis highlighted for your convenience in the introduction section. Next, method. Participants. The total sample for the survey-based research consisted of a small group of 5 participants in a college class. Organized by a question-based survey, participants were asked to self-identify their responses on the survey, regarding both their demographics and their answers in relation to Beck's depression inventory. All participants were Black and African American, and within the same college class, as well as randomly identified and selected. Used in the study include Google Forms and Google Surveys as a recording form, the psychometric scale used with Beck's depression inventory, the self-reporting numerical scale where a subject determines the overall score by filling out 21 questions of their depression in accordance to the index. Finally, to analyze these results, JASP used organized data and the metrics of descriptive statistics and a correlational model. Finally, procedures. Regarding procedures, skeleton of this research is as follows. A random sample of subjects will be selected, and they are emailed the quantitative intensity of depression survey. There's no time limit, and the data will be collated as it is received. To analyze the data, JASP will be used or another form of descriptive stats software to determine the results of the overall study. Results. The research question posed was whether there were ethnic or racial differences in one's quantitative depression score. The purpose of the study was to determine if there was a difference between scores across races, with the hypothesis being that those of non-white ethnic backgrounds would present a higher numerical depression score. Regarding scores, the standard deviation between the responses was 0.577. The mean and mode were 2. The median 2.5. And the variance is 33. Repeating. All participants self-identified as Black and African Americans with no deviance for gender, age, or other identifiers known. Below the tables pulled from Google Forms regarding the lack of statistical significance, followed by a descriptive stats table detailing this information, as well as tables detailing the lack of statistical significance between subjects. The tables are located on the slide for visual convenience. I'm going to go through each figure real quickly. This is the Google Forms table with the Venn diagram, the numerical sum of responses. So all subjects reported intensive depression within the 21 to 30 range as far as their numerical sum, to put them in the moderate to intense depression quota. The second table we're looking at, race and ethnic background, this is just a confirmation of the earlier data aforementioned in the introduction and discussion section. And this is going to be the confirmation of race as total as Black and African American. And finally, this is just going to be another table detailing that there is no deviance. However, there were five participants, but one refused to self-identify. And we'll discuss this and more in the discussion section. All right, regarding this discussion, according to the International Journal of Mental Health Systems, multiple factors exist at any one time to determine one's various levels of stress, depression, and anxiety. While there are no significant differences between genders, family factors, social factors, and political factors were the most common determinants in this study. And however, in the studies listed in my paper, race was not one of these factors, hence the reasoning for this research. It seems to be that while other factors are collated and counted first, the point of this research and the point of this question was to see if race was a factor. We found no statistical significance in my above research, but this also may be due to my own limitations discussed below. Due to both the small sample size and the limited delivery system by email, the overall scope of the study was no doubt affected. With a more robust delivery system and a larger sample size, a more statistically significant determination could be made to justify further research on the research hypothesis. As this study only consisted of 5 people due to optional survey-based form filling, there was no doubt an impact on my research as far as impact, statistical significance, overall standard error of the mean, and other frequency variables. And that was limitations. And for possible directions in the future, a larger sample, of course. An interview-based recording system was an idea based on the fact that this is while this is a quantitative research, this is a qualitative question, and allowing the subjects to feel as they can get free rein with their answers could produce a larger bevy of answers, as well as increase retention and subject interest. And lastly, another consideration would be of course, the addition of new demographic categories such as gender, age, qualification, and others to assist in allowing the subjects to create variance across subjects and also determine specific areas of need for clients. And then you will also find my references section, collated and done in alphabetical order. All right. Thank you for this time, Dr. Ickes. I hope you have a good evening, and thank you for enjoying my presentation. All right.